Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Wednesday, February 11th, 2026. It is 2:36 in the afternoon. We're calling to order a meeting of the Executive Committee, February 11th, 2026. We have everybody from the Executive Committee present, including Charlie, Joe, Natisha, Sam. All staff is here. Susan, actually, I apologize. No, four out of us are here. Lynette, Jason, Lillian, and myself. Shelby is off, Nancy is done for the day, and Susan's working from home. So agenda was circulated ahead of time with the packet with the meeting minutes in it. Any questions or corrections to those minutes?
No, I would just have the stationery include our new board member because she's not on there.
Oh yeah, we'll update that. Yep.
I have no changes to the minutes.
Okay. I have a motion to accept both those sets of minutes. And a second.
So moved.
Natisha on the motion. Have a second.
Second.
Stan with a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the financials. We're doing the audit right now, so they're a little behind. I was expecting to have them today, but maybe it's going to be the end of the day today before I get those. So I don't really not give you much of an option, but I'll present those at the full board meeting itself. Any questions on the financials I did not present? All right, I wanted to give you a quick update here. And I think most of you are in real estate. I don't think anybody is not in real estate that's here, but we have a call Thursday with Home Leasing about the Clinton Avenue Phase 3 project. Bottom line, they're going to pull back on that and terminate that agreement. It appears they've indicated that's what they would like to do. So we have a phone call on Thursday. Sam, Mick, and the team from ACDA is involved with that too. So what we're going to see, what they're going to say to us, and then what our next set of options are going to be there.
They have to have a press. They have to have a press release for that because it'll get out.
We're not. I mean, we haven't done anything with it yet, so.
No, but I'm just saying, when somebody finds out that a major developer left the land bank, that's a story.
Yeah. I mean, we can put something together.
No, I'm just telling you, be ready, right? Because this isn't small, especially since it's Home Leasing, someone that has a big footprint right in that neighborhood, and why they decided to back out. If I were a reporter, I'd want to know that.
Yeah. Any things that you'd like me to bring up with them when I have that phone call?
I'm not the press guy. What do you think about it?
All right. I think probably, one of the questions will be, what do we do next? I think, the intention would be to reissue, the RFP on that. So,
right.
That's
the other
sort
group,
of
the other group that was interested.
Well, we think MDG was interested, and they were having conversations. We don't know where that ended up, and I think that some of it
You need
is.
to get all when you say something like that, yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, but we weren't involved with MDG because we had we procured that with Home Leasing, so anything was between the two of them.
Leasing is out. Don't you want to tell MBT? They may know it, but you say, we just got notice that Home Leasing is out. Are you guys in or out? Right?
We're gonna have to do a new RFP on this, so it won't be as easy as just handing this off to MDG.
Yeah, but are they interested in doing it? Just so you have that in your pocket, so you know whether they're interested.
So I believe they're interested. I mean, that was what we talked about. I don't know if they could just buy that project from Home Leasing the way Home Leasing wanted to get out of it. We don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I won't know more until I have it.
Like you say, you got to have a new RFP.
Yep. Okay. I wanted to go over the review of the acquisition policy. I'm just going to pull that up here. The acquisition policy, so I'm going through policy by policy throughout the year just to give a regular update on these. The acquisition policy that we have is, I don't think, really been touched too much since the land bank probably passed that way back when. It's probably been, I'm just looking for my notes here. Apologize. I'm a little out of sorts trying to find all these things.
It was adopted November 2014.
Yeah, thank you. I knew it had been around for a bit. I'm just looking for my notes here. I'm working on two screens. Well, I will say that there are some things that we should tweak in that policy. Oh, I know where I put it.
Part of our packet, I'm looking at it right here on the screen.
Well, you have the policy. I have some notes I wanted to go over. Oh, here it is. Okay. I knew I had that right. So yeah, so we established that policy back in November of 2014, passed by a resolution. We have to have that per the State Land Bank Act and Article 16, part of the Public Authorities Law. Just, general review, we established that criteria to acquire property of the land bank. The acquisition of our property, it's limited to property in Albany County unless we have an intermunicipal agreement with another governmental unit, which we don't. So we're just talking about property in Albany County. We can acquire land bank, or we can acquire property for the land bank on a majority vote of the board of directors. It can only be approved by the affirmative vote of a majority of the members of the board that are present and voting. It's actually a lesser requirement than when we sell property. So even if we had a quorum at that meeting, only half the people in that room have to agree to an acquisition, where it's different when we dispose of it. Again, part of the public authorities law requires us to establish that policy, and covers anything that we may acquire for land bank purposes. So I've been going through this on a rewrite, updating the definitions to clean them up, adding some references in there as well.
Are you referring to what you sent us that we're looking on the screen? Is this the change document or the original document that
That's the original. It's the original document.
So thinking about changes you're going to make.
Well, I'm bringing this up because I want to talk about if there's any changes that over the years you thought the acquisition policy was falling short on before I finalize my review and give my recommendations.
So are you going to go over this document that's in front of us right now?
Well, that's our existing policy. You want to go? We can go over that. That's for sure.
Okay, that's the existing one. And now how are you going to present the things you want to change?
I'm asking to this committee, are there any your time on the board, have there been any times where the acquisition policy has come up short that you're aware of?
I have one.
Yeah.
I've one suggestion. That third bullet point talking about proposals and requests by government, not-for-profit, for-profit entities. I mean, what I'm really thinking about those 90 parcels right now in mind, right? There have been a few times over the years where someone's either donated property or we've acquired property that has, challenges in for development, and may be better off publicly held, by which entity, not always certain, but there have been times where we've, acquired property and then given it to the local municipality for $1 so they could use it as a park, or, as, to conserve green space. And that's mostly captured in the guiding criteria, especially that third bullet point. That third bullet point, especially towards the bottom about interlocal agreements must be in place. I don't know that we've ever had any of those. So I just, I think cleaning that one up a little bit might be good.
Yeah, and
Just to make it clearer that like, yes, even if there isn't even if the municipality doesn't have a specific use or, non-use in mind for a piece of property, if an opportunity arises, the land bank can be that more flexible entity to acquire and hold properties for a period of time before the municipality, you know, puts in a request for a non-developmental use.
okay,
I think, like,
I
for
think-
example, I remember either Bethlehem or Guilderland, we donated property for, well, not donated, but we sold it for like a nominal fee, property for a park at one point. I think we've helped out a school district or two over the years. Just some of those things that um, local government wouldn't have been able to do without us over the years, in acquiring property that really wasn't suited for development.
okay. And I think in this, the one thing that kept coming up, and I stumbled over the intergovernmental piece. Even though we're a nonprofit public authority, I don't think that we are really going to enter an intergovernmental cooperation agreement with another municipality. So I think what I would also do throughout there is just strike that reference and just say, enter into an agreement. Just
Which
generally.
which bullet are you talking about there?
I'm just talking, well, Sam was talking about the third bullet under guiding criteria, which is actually on the second page, appears as the second bullet. It's the third bullet in that whole list.
If several properties are available, immediate rehab without the need for substantial rehabilitation. That's the third
No.
bullet.
Nope.
The one above that,
Second bullet.
Charlie.
It's the third bullet in the whole list, but it appears as the second bullet on the second page.
Properties that have been designated use prior to acquisition. Properties that have a designated end use in place of prior acquisition.
No, it's proposals and requests by governmental, nonprofit, and for-profit entities that identify specific properties for ultimate acquisition and redevelopment, which act as a catalyst.
In this policy, I don't see it.
Charlie, it's on the second page of the policy. It's the second bullet on the second page. Starts with proposals and requests.
By governmental. Now I see it. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So what do you want to do to that bullet?
Charlie, my suggestion was that it could be cleaned up a little bit and be made a little more clear. We've had some properties over the years that we've helped facilitate to local governments for a variety of purposes, mostly non-developmental purposes. And I don't know that our guiding
Yeah.
principles accurately capture that.
Okay.
But that
And
is a
so-
legitimate use of land bank powers and land bank, authority.
Yeah, so Sean, you're gonna clean up the language along with Sam said? Is that what you're saying?
Right. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
You don't
That's
have the
exactly-
language. This is an area that you want to clean up.
Exactly. Well, this is what I'm asking the board or this committee, if there's anything in this acquisition policy that doesn't seem right or doesn't work well or needs, additional clarification, because we haven't touched it in 12 years, 11 years.
But when you make the changes, you're gonna show them to us so that we will agree with them, right?
Yeah, you're
Hey,
gonna have
look.
to, yeah, the
Yeah.
committee's,
Right to put eyes on it, you're right to bring it up to date, and Sam just gave you the history of the circumstances, so go for it, yeah.
The only other, I think, suggestion I have is around brownfields. We haven't done a lot. We have that separate LLC that we've set up, to handle some brownfields. And we don't really have funding to do a lot of brownfield work right now, but maybe an area in the future, we could certainly leave ourselves some room in the guiding principles and our guiding criteria to handle, something a little open-ended and vague, like, this land bank, it could be an area we get into if we get funding for it. Just don't want to preclude ourselves from not being able to fill that space if needed.
Sam, do you want us to identify, that when we acquire properties with environmental concerns, that we isolate those into a separate LLC?
Yeah, I think that's smart. We don't want to risk the rest of the portfolio, just because
Yeah.
of one or two properties.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you for this.
Yeah, Joe.
well, sorry, the thing that sticks out to me is the second to last bullet on that page. I don't think we've ever had a cost analysis on a property we've received. So you may want to revisit what that actually looks like and maybe hone in on that a little bit more.
Yeah, I started to tackle that a little bit on the financial liabilities. Let's see. I'll give you some of my thoughts on that. Well, I did isolate guiding criteria. It's like the first 13 bullets or so. Problem is they're not numbered, so you'd have to count down. But where we begin with, if requested, the full cost of the title search and phase one environmental is a responsibility. I moved that into an other acquisitions requirement. I didn't put it into the hard and fast acquisition requirement because I wanted to pull that aside to not necessarily say that that's always a requirement, but it's something that we have to consider if we were going to put that on there. And to the point on the brownfield piece, we may be acquiring something because we know we're gonna have to do a phase one ESA on that. So, it may be at our expense.
Yeah, that all makes sense. That all makes sense to me. This is, like best practices kind of, guidance for the land bank. We don't
Yeah.
always have to hold ourselves to it, but we should certainly strive to.
Mhm. Okay. Well, if you think of anything else in the Joe, did you have anything else?
Yeah, I guess just based on the language that we must be aware, right? It doesn't seem like a consideration. It seems like it would have to be. I'm thinking about this in terms of, let's say we get a building, immediately have to demo it for one reason or another, right? And
Mhm.
then we look to this policy and I'm looking at it now, so that's why I'm bringing it up. We would have probably wanted a building condition survey or some sort of analysis prior to accepting it based on how that is written, right? So
Mhm.
I understand what you're saying. I tend to agree that we're not going to have all that information up front, but what is where is our checklist, right? Saying what we have, what we don't have, and what we're expecting.
Yeah, I think that like the land bank must is a really hard thing because I don't know necessarily how we would avoid that. We would like enforce that. I think that what we have to state is that the land bank shall perform its due diligence to become aware of any and all financial liabilities. And the same thing on the next one below that we shall perform due diligence to become aware of any environmental conditions. Um,
Yeah, I'm okay softening the language. I just when it says must, I mean, there's not much of a wiggle room there.
So we'll do the environmental conditions one. I'll add at the end of that, and I'll just my note for now, but I'll circulate it around. But that properties with potential environmental contamination shall be isolated into a separate LLC to protect the overall assets of the corporation. Okay. So what we're gonna I'll shuffle some of those around because even some of those last bullets, are probably more up in the guiding criteria. And then other ones should be in other acquisition requirements. We'll number these two for better reference. It's hard to tell you bullet 11. And it's hard to also reference that, when we're working up something to say, pursuant to bullet 11 on page 2, we're doing this. So we'll update that. All right, so what I'm hearing is that we'll clean up bullet point 3, to better reflect our roles as a conduit or partner for properties, ultimately headed to a municipality for municipal purposes. We'll clean up, we'll remove any confusion on the intergovernmental part and just, I think lately just refer to agreements. And then that brownfield piece. All right, and I'll do I'll come back with a more full review after I get those pieces in about where, if there's anything else that I think we're potentially missing. But I think this is a good check and update for us. Okay, great. Update on RF, that's all I have for 4A. Natisha, did you have any comments on the policy? I didn't ask you, but didn't hear you either.
No, I'm all set. Thanks, Sean.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to 4B, update on RFPs. Lynette is finishing up the review of the legal RFP, and she's gonna get that over to me for me to take a look at. Our next RFP that we're going to issue is going to be, and to get an analysis done on the buildability of our lots as it relates to the zoning requirements, the dimensional requirements of a municipality. So we can get a sense as to where we have buildable lots and where we don't have buildable lots. It's not as easy as just frontage, but it's frontage, it's depth, it's distance to other buildings. So if we try to do that here, we're just not going to get to it with everything else going on. I think it's best that we have somebody take a look at that. The last time I think that we really went down that path was when the land bank hired, I believe it was MRB, and they did the, what resulted in, I think, the Flip the Block initiative. They looked in that area and some of the other parcel assembly.
So to do this analysis, do we have to do an RFP for it?
I'd like to do an RFP and see
You know
who's.
who we want to, the universe of people, we know who we send it to?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I would, the engineering firms around here would be who I would send it over to, but the engineering firms, I'm thinking of the ones that suit are gonna be the engineering firms that have a planning component, not just straight engineers.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think that's what we're looking for. So, Clough Park, CHA, LaBerge Group, MRB, Labella. I mean, there's at least half a dozen or more.
Yeah, I like it. That's smart. We'll get that sense of what we can work with and what we should think about long term and which ones we can't. That'll help shape how we market and sell those properties in the future.
All right.
Right. That way we're not looking at, a garden application, every time for all these lots that were then like, well, this could be buildable, but, it'll help guide those conversations at acquisition, disposition.
So you're gonna have a discussion like that in real estate today, I believe, on one of the properties, it could be a building lot, but, so there's also trying to prioritize and what we have the capacity for today versus, what's gonna take us 2 years to get to, and, what is our, what guides us in making that decision to hold or let somebody else move ahead on it, so.
Right. I imagine even in the universe of buildable lots that we have, there are some that are going to be much easier and probably financially stronger candidates than others, right? Anything that can help guide us when we do get applications from like the neighbor next door who just wants to expand their yard, would be great.
Yeah.
I'm in favor, because you know me, I'm trying to bundle these lots to build 5 houses at a time. And so the more we have an analysis of what's buildable and what's not, the easier it is to attract a builder that would say, okay, I'll do that, like that.
Yeah. All right, so that's coming next. Next month, so we'll get the acquisition policy wrapped up and a draft out. And then just next month to keep your, looking forward, we'll go to the disposition policy next. It makes most sense. Since they're separate policies. And so next month we'll do the disposition policy review. So that's all I've got for the executive committee. A little short today with the financial reports being held to the board meeting. All right, does anybody have any old business or anything else? Otherwise, we'll adjourn till real estate at 3:15.
Okay,
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
thank
Sean.
you.
Thank you.